Andrew Tate, a man with billions of views, idolized by American teenage boys because the left offered them nothing better. Critics see it differently from the woke wing of the party. They see this as a direct consequence of the gender debate. Maher goes even further. From his perspective, this is the exact pendulum swing every serious analyst advised about. Push young men too hard in one direction, and they will swing in the opposite direction. That's why the manosphere is now the biggest cultural force in American male life under 25. Not because the message is good, because the Democrats made themselves impossible to listen to. And then Maher explains what the Democratic women in the party actually need to do about it.
They agree. Mental health challenges are an important part of my identity. Okay, let's say it all together. Women are better than men. They're smarter and kinder and make way better firefighters. But "I'm never moving past it" isn't really the campaign slogan we're looking for. I'm sorry, Democratic women, but this is your party. You have a special responsibility to look tough. Senator Alyssa Slotkin seems to get that, and not just because of her service in Iraq and with the CIA, but because she says things like, Democrats need to take the flag. Democrats have to stop being weak and woke, she says. Good message.
Alyssa Slotkin, former CIA officer and a combat veteran, saying the words, the Democratic women's establishment refuses to say stop being weak and woke. In Maher's view, this is the exact profile the party needs on every stage. Not lecturers, not therapy sessions with a microphone, real leaders with real records. Critics say Slotkin is one of the last strong voices left in the party, and the fact that the loud wing keeps trying to silence her tells you everything about how out of touch the party has become. That's why every honest Democrat should be repeating her line word for word.
Because no one's holding women back anymore. In many ways, they're leaving men in the dust. Women are much less likely to be unemployed now, less likely to blow a month's pay on DraftKings. And much more likely to complete college. The only writing young men do these days is engraving their bullets. That's okay. Booing into applause, very rare. America now has 14 million women-owned businesses, which generate $2.7 trillion in revenue. Yeah, women launched 49% of all new businesses in 2024, and the number of black women-owned businesses outpaced the growth rates of every other demographic. I'm spitting facts. In the Barbie movie, when she storms into the Mattel boardroom, it's 12 people, all men. But Mattel is a real company. And in 2023, their boardroom was actually 6 men and 5 women.
14 million women-owned businesses, $2.7 trillion in revenue. 49% of all new businesses in 2024 started by women. Women completing college at higher rates than men. Women outperforming men in nearly every measure of economic mobility. Critics agree with Maher on this point completely. The women are being held back pitch stopped matching reality years ago, and Maher's Barbie movie point is even sharper. The film showed a Mattel boardroom full of only men. The real Mattel boardroom in 2023 had 5 women out of 11 members.
Perpetuating victimhood, especially when it's false, is not a great advertisement for leadership. Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me. 107 Days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump. But in 107 days, nothing is ever Kamala's fault. Biden lets her down by not stepping down sooner. Pouty face emoji. Gavin Newsom, he was asked for his endorsement, but texted, hiking, we'll call back. But then never did. And then he didn't even ask her to prom. America, America itself lets Kamala down by not being ready for the running mate she really
A
wanted.
book called
Pete
107 Days, a campaign that raised over $1.5 billion, and a book that blames every human being on Earth, except the candidate herself. Biden let her down. Newsom didn't call back. America wasn't ready for her running mate choice. From Maher's perspective, this is the perfect example of the exact victim mindset that keeps costing the party elections. To Maher, no political party has ever won long-term by producing leaders who refuse to accept responsibility for their own losses. That's why voters keep walking. And then Maher exposes the double standard.
He wears hoodies. He shows up
Real time.
Look, ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and strong. It wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the Woman Show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha. Then on the 5th day, they rose and said, "No one silences us." No one had to. You silenced yourself. Whoopi Goldberg continued, "Did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel?" No, I thought you would, but then you didn't. 5 days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're
Every
making my
male
point.
comedian in America defended Jimmy Kimmel when he came under fire. The View, a show hosted entirely by women, went silent for 5 straight days. Then finally spoke up on day 5 with the line, "No one silences us." Maher's point is clear: nobody had to. They silenced themselves. Critics believe this is the exact hypocrisy that has made the woman party so easy to mock. In Maher's view, if you are going to build your entire brand around courage and speaking truth to power, you cannot go missing when it actually counts. That's why the country stopped taking the show seriously.
I think that's a long-term trend. I think it was a very short-term generational shift that we're experiencing within the Democratic Party. Overall, look, I've been a part-time college professor for 33 years. There's something going on with young men in our country. They're reticent, many of them are holding back, and we need to address that. But at the same time, holding back because sometimes I think they don't know their place anymore, and that's something that men need to decide and discuss. But as a woman, for years, decades, centuries, women had to be overconfident just to appear qualified. So I don't want men to think that the reason why young men are suffering is because some woman. No, young men are dealing with what young women had to deal with centuries ago. You'll find your place at the table. Come sit with me sometime. I'll get you some help.
A Democratic Party veteran, trying to argue that the young male exodus is just a short-term trend, but critics see it differently, and so does every serious pollster in America. According to Navigator Research, young men under 45 voted for the other side by 8 points in 2024, a historic swing away from a generation that used to reliably vote Democratic. From Maher's perspective, this is not short-term, this is generational, and denying it is exactly why the party keeps losing elections. That's why leaders like Fetterman are trying to sound the alarm before it is too late. And then comes the clip where Maher reveals what the latest numbers are really saying.
The Democratic Party's current approval rating is 21%, which is only slightly more popular than Kanye's swastika shirts. Maybe that's why, according to a new Gallup poll, 45% of Democrats want the party to move to the center, which is up 11 points from 4 years ago. Now, whenever a political party finds a real star president, the other side always says, well, we have to find our Bill Clinton, our Reagan, our Obama. Well, the Democrats need to find their Trump, not the authoritarian part, but the part where a politician bonds with everyday Americans because he talks like them. And the good news for Democrats is they have that guy, and his name is John Fetterman.
21% approval.
$1.5 billion
one more time.
and a book that blames
21%.
every human being on Earth,
45%
except
of
the
Democrats
candidate
themselves,
herself.
nearly half the party, are now openly saying the party needs to move to the center. Maher goes even further. From his perspective, the party doesn't just need to move to the center, it needs to find a leader who can actually talk to normal Americans. Critics agree that Fetterman is that guy. He wears hoodies. He shows up. He speaks like a real person. And most critics believe if the party had 100 more Fettermans and 100 fewer activists, it would win every election it lost since 2016.
Fetterman is that rare Democrat who's not afraid to put the woke nonsense peddlers in his own party in their place, saying things like, wanting a secure border and realizing that it was out of control, that doesn't mean you're a xenophobe or a racist. He's been unequivocally pro-Israel, as are most Americans, and when pro-Palestinian protesters showed up at his home, he went up on the roof and waved an Israeli flag. Fetterman says the four words that strike fear in the heart of every Republican who wants to hang on to power. I am not woke. That's why Trump won, not because Americans were clamoring for tariffs on margarita mix. Going where the American people are on crime and immigration, gosh, it's so crazy it just might work. See, that's how you get these things called votes. And
I am not woke. Read those four words out loud. That is a sitting Democratic senator from a swing state, saying the phrase every Democratic strategist has been afraid to say for a decade. And it doesn't stop there. Fetterman has called for common sense on crime while activists screamed at him from Twitter. To Maher, this is exactly the kind of Democrat the party needs, one who is willing to lose Twitter to win the country. Critics agree the numbers back Fetterman's approach in every possible way. Voters want borders secured. Voters want streets safe. Voters want a party that speaks to them, not down to them. That's why Bill Maher keeps saying Fetterman may be the last hope his party has left. Because the modern Democratic Party did not just lose the American male vote, it lectured him and pushed him out the door. And unless the party finally admits it, the way Fetterman just did the losses of 2024 will look like a warm-up compared to what's coming in 2026 and 2028. Now I want to hear from you. So tell me, is John Fetterman the future of the Democratic Party, or the last honest voice inside a party that stopped listening? Can Democrats ever win back the young American male vote? Drop your answer in the comments, hit that like if Maher and Fetterman said what needed to be said, and subscribe, because what's coming next will be even more surprising.